The truth is out there. Knowledge is power. This is the Prepper Podcast Radio Network.
Have you ever wanted to generate your own supply of electrical power, even save money on your electric bill? If so, this is going to be the most important message you will ever hear. Solar power generators are now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. Unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running quietly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, and even keep your food from spoiling. Whether it's hurricanes, ice storms, brownouts, or blackouts, you'll never suffer through painful power outages again. And here's the best news, a remarkable fall truckload sale going on right now that gets you $1,700 in bonuses when you buy a solar generator. To find out why solar generators are the best generators and get $1,700 for doing so, go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com. Generate your own supply of electricity. Go to falltruckloadsale.com. That's falltruckloadsale.com.
Pioneer Living Survive, a true people publication, and online at www.pioneerliving.net. Here you'll find ideas and tips for people, the new pioneers, homesteaders, survivalists, and preppers who want to get back to basics and work with nature. It's our goal at Pioneer Living to inform as many people as possible with solutions on the forgotten, lost art of basic human survival. Pioneer Living is currently accepting articles for those of you who wish to share stories on the pioneer way of life, including homesteading, survival, gardening, preparedness, and simple back-to-basics living. By visiting pioneerliving.net, you'll learn how to build an open fire pit for cooking, making charcoal, tanning hide, survival food storage, survival canning and preserving, survivalist gardening, organic soil prep, and composting. In these unique and extraordinary times, now is the time to practice a self-sufficient way of life. Find us online at pioneerliving.net and start changing your life today.
The British Medical Journal accused a researcher, Andrew Wakefield, of outright fraud. People need to look at the details and not look at the headlines.
This is like saying the visceral response that they're trying to whip up in the public to try and crush this dissent.
Enough is enough.
If you like the efficiency of the post office, the confidence of FEMA, and the compassion of the IRS, we will love the nationalized health care bill.
Cover up on the case. What are the codes from the press and the public? Facts they deserve to know.
Don't let anybody make you think.
This is KPRN-DB, broadcasting worldwide from Southeast Oklahoma, USA, to parts unknown. This is the Prepper Podcast Radio Network News with your host, James Smith.
And hello, preppers. James Smith with the Prepper Podcast Radio Network News. Now, all information provided is for you to make reasonable and rational decisions on how you'll be prepping for the upcoming issue I will be discussing. And tonight it's going to be secession. I have more faith in you than anyone else in the media. Now, there's lamestream news, there's right-wing news, and now there's prepper news. News targeted for all preppers. We report current and pending legislation and how it affects you. Learn of potential hazardous weather and potential disasters before they strike, and understand how the economy is forcing you to make tough decisions. This is your news, news that you can use. Now, you can listen to the Prepper Podcast Radio Network live feed by calling 786-837-2278. That's, once again, it's 786-837-2278. And you can listen to the live feed by visiting PPRNnews.com, which will take you automatically to PrepperPodcast.com. Our Twitter name is @PPRNnews. And if you have a news tip, let us know. Newstip@PPRNnews.com. a battle at Fort Sumter. You can say it was a globalist plot or the Zionists were involved or whatever. I don't care. There was people who got fed up with what was going on and decided to declare their anonymity, their separation from the Union. As we all know, that didn't turn out so well. Well, with this new elections come out, the White House has a petition system. You petition the White House, and after they receive 25,000 votes, the White House will review it. Now, Texas has filled one out. People in Texas. They've received 25,000 petitions in order for the White House to review this, signatures in order to review this petition. Well, you know what's going to happen. This thing's going to get round filed. File 13. It's going to be flushed down the toilet. Nobody cares at the White House. Let me read to you what Texas petition reads like. I just want to make sure I get it. The U.S. continues to suffer economic difficulties stemming from the federal government's neglect to reform domestic and foreign spending. The citizens of the U.S. suffer from blatant abuses of their rights, such as the NDAA, the TSA, etc. Given that the state of Texas maintains a balanced budget and is the 15th largest economy in the world, it is practically feasible for Texas to withdraw from the Union, and to do so would protect its citizens' standards of living and resecure their rights and liberties in accordance with the original ideas and beliefs of our founding fathers, which are no longer being reflected by the federal government. Okay, there are, as I said, there was 15. Now, the story that I found yesterday lists these states. Let's see, right now we've got, well, at the moment, Louisiana, Texas, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, North Carolina, Kentucky, Mississippi, Indiana, North Dakota, Montana, Colorado, Oregon, New Jersey, and New York. Can you believe New Jersey and New York? These are not rednecks, okay? These are not those that put a transmission into the shower in order to let the fluids drain down the drain that way. I've seen this, trust me. But it is people who are trying to be free. Now, there's a latest story. I'm just going to pull. This is about the fact that Texas actually did get their petition done. And this is on BuzzFeed. But it also lists the different states that we have it. North Carolina reads, when in the course of human events becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Further quote, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, for that whenever the form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter and abolish it and institute a new government. That's actually part of the preamble to the Oregon Constitution. Alabama, pretty much says the exact same thing. Kentucky, almost the exact same thing. Florida, almost the exact same thing. They have a quote from Franklin. They who give up essential liberty to obtain a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty or safety. Mississippi says the exact same thing. Montana, they paraphrase it. And there's the other ones as well. Let's see if I can find try to find the remainder. Okay, well, anyways, I read those other states that were doing it, but basically it is the right of a nation, it's the right of a state, in order to declare its separation from a union. It's a right. Okay, do this. Write the word down, right, R-I-G-H-T. Now take a big black marker and you put a couple underlines there. This is not something the government gets to choose to let this happen. This is an inalienable right. If they want to give illegal aliens the inalienable right to vote in our elections, then this is a right we get to exercise. Now, Mr. Obama, Skippy the boy I wonder how he got into office, is going to, like I said, he's going to file 13 this. because he wants to keep a united nation. He doesn't want to be the one that caused the separation. It's a black mark. All right, we're going to take a 30-second break real quick, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Now, let's talk about if a state decides to secede. Let's say my state. I live in the state of confusion, okay? That's the best way to say it. If I told you the state, I'd get all the crazies knocking on my door. Hey, James! James! Okay, I don't want to deal with that. So I live in the state of confusion. Now, let's say, for example, the state of confusion does successfully secede. And then the state of Texas secedes, just as an example. One, I'm moving to Texas. I'm getting out of the state of confusion in a heartbeat. Your American dollars would probably be no good. I am not one for precious metals, except lead and brass. So they may want you to be, shift your American dollars into some other kind of currency, Confederate dollars, yeah. But be aware of that. You may be at there may be a transition period where you're not in control of your life. Just be aware of that. When you do decide to leave, you have to make a few decisions. You may never be able to come back. Your home, more than likely, will be taken for non-payment of taxes to start with. Your friends may disown you, may not want to talk to you. Your family, the same way. When you get there, you will be a refugee. Now you're going to feel like somebody who just came off the boat in Ellis Island or any other port of entry. You maybe know some people there. You maybe don't. You're being tossed around like the winds. You're going to be an immigrant. And with that, as long as you know this is your status, as long as you are aware of what's going on, you can cope with it. You will be able to deal with it. Just understand it's going to be a rough patch that you're going to be on. One of the things that you have to offer the state of whichever you're going to go is the ability to be productive. If they want welfare moms, welfare dads, workers' comp fraud, which I used to investigate, they're not going to want you. They can kick you out. They can keep you from being a citizen of Canada if you have nothing to offer them. And you're entering a foreign country now. It is no longer the United States. It's a foreign nation. It's one of the original foreign nations, for example, Texas. But it's a foreign nation. So they can exclude you. What do I have to offer Texas, Alabama, Montana, or any other state? I have a few skills. Just leave it at that. But first and foremost, what I would love to do is simply raise chickens. I've got a small flock here in Frostbite Falls, and I would love to raise my chickens where I didn't have to do so covertly. And I can sell the eggs. I can be productive. And let me tell you, chicken manure is highly prized among gardeners. It just has to set a piece. That's what it needs to do, set a piece. So be aware that if you do secede, you're going to be an immigrant. You're going to lose everything that you've had before, maybe even your good name. You're going to be walking into something totally blind, and you won't know what to do. Just be aware that's the situation you're going to be in. You need to have productive skills. If you don't have productive skills, might I suggest you start developing a few productive skills? The first thing you need to get away from is the internet. Learn your skill on the internet. But do not say, I've got a .com. You need to have practical skills. It could be construction. It could be sewing. It could be, raising chickens, raising cattle, growing, being a farmer. And they'll ask you, so what kind of farm did you have? Well, I had a private garden. That doesn't really qualify you to have 50 acres of potatoes. Sorry, it just doesn't. So be aware, this is the situation you're going to be in. Now, my strongest suggestion to you is that you go on the internet and use your preferred search engine and you look up the state that you would like to go to. For example, North Dakota, Montana, Oregon, whatever. So you type in, let's say, for example, Oregon, which, by the way, is a really beautiful state, except it's full of hippies. Okay? Liberals. Oh. But anyways, so type in like Oregon Secession Movement, Texas Secession Movement, and you'll see websites. And then click on these websites and send them information and request information. It's like, I'm interested in your state secession movement. What can I do to help this happen? What can I do to move there? What do I do about housing, a job, etc.? And when do you think it's going to happen so that I can start packing my stuff up? If you do pack only your essentials. If you have to get a U-Haul truck, you may want to consider doing it. And if it's the last of your paycheck, or even if you're going to just blow your paycheck on getting a truck and gas, you may want to think about doing that. You just blow off your bills. Not really suggesting it. It's just a theory. All right, I'm going to do one more quick commercial break, and then I'm going to close it up with some final thoughts. Be back in 30. Alrighty, we're back now. Just some closing thoughts. The petitions, there's been 20 petitions. I've seen as many as 30. Well, no, 20 petitions or so have been presented to the White House. The White House, as they hit that 25,000 signature marks, they will review it, and more than likely they will deny it. And therefore, there will be paperwork started in the state capital of Texas or whatever. It's going to be a hard row to hoe. You can do it, though. You're a prepper. Just because you're in a tough patch doesn't mean that you can't do it. And besides, I believe in you. I believe that you can do it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is James Smith. Going to head on out. Actually, I might need to head to bed. So, the session state is for you. Because to be honest with you, it is for me. Bye-bye now.